And the club's celebrating 30th anniversary for the premiership. Is that anything that your group feels?
Oh, a sense of pride, I suppose. Yeah, a great reflection on a fantastic era. So, yeah, a little bit disconnected in terms of what we're doing right now, but the celebrations that they'll have during the week, I'm sure they'll enjoy each other's company, the players and the coaches and the board members that were part of that, and we'll do a bit of activation on game day. But yeah, I mean, it just reminds you of the success in the past.
Obviously, a lot of the former players will be around the place. Will they come into the club and talk to the playing group?
Well, they did that a few weeks ago. Yeah, so we had their presence 3 or 4 weeks ago. So yeah, it's a pretty tight club, tight playing group, past players in particular. It's probably the strongest I've seen across the comp in terms of how connected they still are. So, and I can see our current day players being very similar.
And do you feel like the buy-one offered you anything in terms of turning things around at all?
It gave us the opportunity to play a few guys at Waffle. So we're going to hit a cluster of players who, I think all of them who are coming back from injury have now played 1 or 2 games at least at Waffle level. So it gave us a chance to reflect and recharge ourselves. But I think we had 13 players who gave up their weekend off to play. And so I just gave them an extra week of preparation for being available this week.
I guess that's so different to what you've had. You've been rushing guys in, because of the issues that you've faced through the first half of the season. I mean, is that just a benefit psychologically that they can come in knowing that they've got X amount of minutes of decent footy under their belt? Yeah,
it's been more than probably this year too. I think the last 2.5 years we're trying to get players available in season from long-term injuries. It's really difficult to try and get them match ready, and it always takes a few weeks of AFL exposure. So even playing a bit of waffle ball, it's not the be all and end all. But I think we must have 5 or 6 players who've played 1 or 2 waffle games, and that'll get them better prepared for sure.
In that period of reflection, have you been able to identify anything further that you feel's not worked out for you this season?
Yeah, we've gone through this a fair bit. I mean, it's a wide range of things. Availability is obviously plays a serious factor in playing 43 players and debuting 13 players and all those type of things. But there's elements of what we're trying to do from a style of play and how we start the game and all those things that we're trying to get better at. Still trying to create an environment where we can grow and learn, but the standards need to be high. So, yeah, the reflection piece is all those things combined. Try and get settled with what we're trying to do on field, try and get a bit of synergy with our senior team is what's in front of us, and then get those small wins, start winning quarters, start winning halves, start winning games.
I think you said last night that the team will look different this week. Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, these guys will be available, so we haven't had training or match committee, but, Ryan, Rioli, Sheed, McGovern, Petruccelli, Jones, there's a few there that spring to mind. I haven't gone through everyone, but that already feels a bit different than perhaps what happened last week or what we had in the side. So, and then there's guys who deserve to stay in through the current form, and there's guys who have been not lucky, but there hasn't been much pressure at match committee. So we haven't had that luxury of, getting guys some form back at waffle level. So that hopefully that comes, and that's what the players should be embracing as well.
Elliot Yeo missing the fair bit of football.
Yeo was the other one.
Weekend. Is he little bit further away though, missing that game, and obviously the big layoff he had before that?
Yes and no. I mean, he played 2 waffle games, and it would have been great to get another one in. So that was disappointing, but he's ready to go. So he's another one. So this gets to a point where you got to get him in. So Dom Sheets played 3 games at waffle level. Yowie a couple, and then I think Willie and Liam played 1 on the weekend. So that they get through the week, we'll see how they go, and he'll pick the team accordingly.
Is having a bye give you that opportunity to change your 22 en masse when you might be reluctant to do that in the week-to-week grind?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've done this before, and with not much success. I know last year, I recall, I think it was the Bulldogs game. It was when the crowd got pulled an hour before the game. And we had several players come back and, we underperformed that day. So there's going to be the synergy piece no matter what, trying to get everyone just back on the same wavelength. And then there's going to be match day fitness and the work they've all done at waffle level we're really happy with, and the work they've done on the track. So it's about getting everyone together. So, how do you do it? Do you stagger it? Do you just get them all in? We're working through that.
Did you feel like the bye was like a really needed circuit breaker? Like you go out week to week, you're struggling, the results aren't going your way. Did you feel like you really needed just that week off where you didn't have to go out and potentially cop a belting?
No, look, it's energy's still there for us trying to get better. It's just we're in a different mode, different phase. You reflect on the good times and how you get good flow and you hit the sweet spot, and then you hit the times where it's really challenging, but the energy's the same. So, yeah, I mean, the bye, I think the guys embraced the fact they had 3 or 4 days off, the guys who took that time. Same with the coaches, but yeah, you're always thinking, and you're trying to get the best out of your group and the best out of yourself. So that hasn't changed.
You mentioned the coaches. What did your bye period look like?
Mine, had a couple of days off and then got back into it. We watched the waffle on the weekend. We've been planning and assessing. We didn't wait till the bye. Yeah, so we're trying to consolidate now and maybe back away a little bit and let the boys play, and help them as much as we can without trying to reinvent the wheel.
Back on what you said before about the different team this week, what are you hoping to get from Dom Sheed, that experienced midfielder, back in that midfield group?
Well, just that, a bit of experience. We've missed Dom. He's one of our best players. He's been very consistent for years, and he's one of our leaders. So yeah, he's not alone. There's 3 or 4 guys in that boat. So we've definitely missed him for sure.
Looking forward to Geelong. They've obviously got some really strong players on their side. How are you looking to combat kind of the Hawkins, Cameron matchups and even Stewart and even young De Koning down back?
Yeah, look, they're an exceptional side. A lot of respect for Geelong. They're reasonably healthy. They're in good form. So yeah, that's going to be a real challenge for it. It's probably, there's individuals, but the way they play their system, it stands up. It's based around contest, based around field position, really good defence, and then talent on top of it. That's why they've been so good for so long. So it's going to be a real challenge. Yeah.
Jai Cully's first run around on the weekend in the actual colours. How did you see his game?
Yeah, well, we were tossing up whether to give him a week off and let him settle. He'd never been to WA. He's never played against men, so he's 19. So we just got the mid-season draft puts these guys up in lights, and that's great. It's great for them for the short term, but we've got to be patient. He's 19 years old, albeit he's 195 centimetres around that, and he looks like he's ready for men's football. So that physically looks like he's okay, but getting up to speed with it all and getting to know his teammates and the way we play and all that, just got a little bit of time. But we're happy with what he did.
And Petruccelli mentioned that he moved in with him for the week. Is that just a part of getting the boys to get to know each other in that short period?
Yeah, it's something the club's done forever when trying to induct interstate players, whether it's pre-season or in-season. The boys always open up their doors for them. We have host families. We really try and look after young players who, leaving home for the first time, a lot of them. So, yeah, going through that experience, I think we're pretty good at doing that and inducting our players into the club, and our players, they're a big part of that.
The way your selection might evolve over the next couple of months,
Yeah.
Where are you at, do you think, as far as prioritising youth? Is that going to come into it pretty soon or a little bit later in the year?
Yeah, that's something we're working with now because we've got a lot of senior players hopefully returning. So, if they're ready to play and their form's, warranted it, we need to look at that. We've actually exposed a lot of young players already, so it's not like we haven't played 43 players. So the selection piece is interesting. So I suppose when you're looking at team selection and you've got a young player coming in and it's a 50-50 call with maybe an older experienced player, you probably lean to youth a little bit. But form's got to play a part, and given that exposure, they've all had it. And we've probably got a couple more to come this year in terms of there's probably 2 or 3 players on the list who haven't played yet. So we'd like to do that through form. and hopefully we get that at Waffle. So that'll be a balancing act for the rest of the year, because the path we're on is it's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but we do need to expose them.
Is Harzo there just yet?
He's not far off. Yeah, we'll work through that this week. We'll see what the team looks like, the conditions, the opposition. But yeah, we think he'll play football this year.
And how hard's that balance, not just with the youth, but with the older guys as well? There's a few that are playing a little bit banged up probably because they've got to go out there every week.
Yeah.
Without, using the word tanking, but looking towards the future, it's reasonable to, rest some of these older guys in the back half because they are playing under a bit of duress. How hard is it to balance that?
You'd separate the tanking's really not. That's not even in our conversation. But respecting the champions of the game we've got a few guys on the back nine, and respecting their careers and where they're at, and exposing our younger players is what we'll work through the back half of the year. So there's 10 games to go, and I'm hoping to get the balance right, where some weeks you'll get a different look with the youth, and some weeks we get different look with the players that have deserved to play or have been around and been champions of the game. So we'll work through that.
What's the psychology of those guys that have been here for a while and tasted success and have, for some of them probably really, for a lot of them, all of them even, it's the first taste of real chip on field that they've had, and the importance of them in shaping what's to come. Is it hard to keep a positive psychological mindset for them?
I thought it was going to be hard, but I've just been so proud of our leaders, and they want to play for a start, but they want to help us get through it. This club's got and been built on a lot of success, but it's also dealt with a lot of adversity over the years. So I think they're not thriving and enjoying it, but they've embraced it. So it's been the leadership group I've had this year has been as strong as I've ever had to work with, and they're all in on us trying to get better. So, and I think they realise it's not going to happen overnight as well. But they're part of the solution, and even the guys who might be in their last season, they're still willing to do the little things for the younger players. So, yeah, I know it's not looking great on field at the moment, and I'm not trying to sell false hope with success we might have in the short term, but they've got the right attitude.
What about more from like a sort of sports science perspective and like self-talk on the field, that sort of thing? I mean, these guys, some of them are all Australians, and they still got that faith in their own ability.
Yeah. I'm not sure that.
Well, I mean, given that the results aren't coming, do they still have that faith in them?
Oh, the belief. Yeah. Well, what comes first? Is it belief or evidence? I think some of these players individually have had outstanding careers, but collectively we're not getting it done. So it's probably more about the collective at the moment, and can we get some confidence in our group, get these small wins, and then leverage off that, and then hopefully some of the memories we've had and the success they've had in the past can rub off on some other players and younger players coming through. So, yeah, that's a challenge for us. Absolutely.
You mentioned just letting them play for this last little period. Are we going to see a fair big change in the way you're going about it?
No, not really. I think when you're going through this, you just you coach the life out of them, and sometimes you might overdo it. You might, try and help too much. When sometimes some of these senior players, they'll work it out. So we're working through that. It's not a big change in behaviours. It's just, you can only do so much before you hand it over to the players and let them try and work through some of these things, especially some of the senior players.
Simo, one for us. Just 100,000 members for the...
Stocksy, the insert. Yeah, 100,000. Well, yeah, despite the fact that where we are and what we're dealing with, and we know everything's a bit more difficult, to get 100,000 members, we'd have to be right up there, top two with the Tigers maybe. But, we appreciate everyone's support. I get a lot of feedback on the street, as you can imagine, but they're sticking fat with the club, and, there's a bit of understanding what we're going through, but, yeah, they're pretty loyal, our bunch.